Good morning, all. We're just going to wait for a few more people to join. I'd like to think I'm more popular than 7 people, but you never know. So give it a couple more minutes till everyone joins, and then I will be getting underway. Right, for those of you who are just joining, we're going to wait another minute or two for a few more people to attend, but we will be kicking off as soon as practically possible. Right, I think that's probably enough time for people to join, for those of us who are joining after meetings. So good morning, my name is Jonty Deeley-Williamson. I'm the head of L&D here at UKBIC. As Richard has said, could we please use the Q&A function in the chat rather than trying to raise hands or place in the meeting chat? That'd be most useful. And I will begin. So today I'm going to be talking about the future skills for the UK battery ecosystem. And that's a view from UKBIC's Head of Learning Development, myself. Other views are available, but you're getting my one at this moment. I'm not saying it's the be-all and end-all. This is just a person who's been working in L&D for about 13 years, battery manufacturing for about 5, taking their take, for want of a better word, on what we need to do to ensure the UK stays as a powerhouse in the manufacturing industry. So, to protocols, as I said, to ask questions, please use the Q&A function on Teams. I'll be checking that out. Rich will be looking through that as we go, and we'll answer them at the end. We'll try and get as many questions as possible once we've ended the presentation. I will try not to talk too much. Those of you who I know on the call know me quite well, know I love to talk. So I'll try and speed through this as quickly as possible. If you want to contact us after the webinar, you can email sales@ukbic.co.uk or info@ukbic.co.uk, depending on whether you want to buy something or whether you just want some information from us. If potential suppliers that want to work with UKBIC, it's suppliers@ukbic.co.uk, and we will make all the copy of the slides and this lovely recording in case you want to hear my lovely dulcet tones again from the 11th of December from our website. So, as I said, today we're talking about future skills for the UK battery ecosystem, a view from myself. So, nice coverage one. We're going to look at the skills landscape. We're looking at moving from being very much internal combustion engine or ICE towards our battery electric vehicles, our BEVs. Talk about the net zero challenge and how it's going to impact the manufacturing industry, especially when it comes to internal combustion engines and EVs. And the main question for me is, where do we find these 40,000 people from that we keep throwing around as a figure of people we need to run battery manufacturing? So where the UK stands today. As always, we've got a great heritage in manufacturing. The UK flips between ourselves and France as one of the largest manufacturers in the world. We swap places every sort of year or so, tussle with France. And for a country our size, comparative to France, with the workforce and the space, I always think that's quite a strong showing from the UK. We've got 2 battery manufacturers in the UK that have either signed, sealed, and delivered and are already creating cells, like up in the north east. Yep. In AESC in their factory near Sunderland, and Agratas down in the southwest, who are building their factory for start of production mid 26 or towards 27. We've obviously got the Battery Innovation Programme, BIP, formerly the Faraday Battery Challenge, for those who have been in the know for quite some time. And we've got the UK's Modern Industrial Strategies that was released a couple of months ago now, that we've had a time to sit down, digest, read, and see what that actually means for battery manufacturing. So we've got a strong start. Is it going to be the be-all and end-all? Nope, we've still got a lot to do. But the UK's got a lot of strengths. We're fantastic at R&D. We've got great universities. We've got Faraday Institution. We've got a real good starting point in terms of R&D. We're great at early investment. We've seen the Battery Innovation Programme, funded by Innovate UK, put in money to ourselves, the APC, and a lot of catapults to ensure that we have infrastructure available for battery manufacturing. And as mentioned beforehand, we have a great heritage in automotive engineering and advanced manufacturing, especially in the West Midlands, but around the UK as well. Some challenges that we're facing. We've obviously got limited gigafactory capacity compared with the EU and the US. Since we left Europe, we've obviously been out on our own for a while. We have some factories that have been rubber stamped, we said, AESC and Agratas, but that's not going to be enough to cover us for the requirement that we have for our own internal use and our export use. Supply chain localization is very immature at the moment, unfortunately. We have a tendency to have a platform of when we need it, we'll start doing it, rather than if we do it beforehand and get things in place, especially when it comes to infrastructure and localization and funding that. And obviously a massive global competition for skills, capital and technology. The battery, lithium-ion battery, was technically a British invention. Here in the UK, we didn't capitalize on it, and obviously now with China, Europe, America and other countries really weighing in, there's a massive global competition for skills. But obviously we've got those momentum buildings, and it's an integral part of the UK's modern industrialization strategy, so really important for us to make sure that we are covered for the skills, the development, and also the infrastructure and the technology. So this is our production capacity that's been announced. So everything's been green-lit and is guaranteed to happen versus our projected 2035 demand. The nice green circle is obviously what we need. And the 2 coloured circles, AESC and Agratas, are the proposed output for those factories at full capacity. They won't hit the ground running and hit the ground at full capacity. They'll build up towards that. But as you can see, AESC and Agratas do not cover all the requirements of our 120 gigawatt hours just for automotive. They cover just over a half. We've also got their HGVs and LGVs. We've got battery storage, so static storage. We've got off-road highway. So looking at construction, we've got aerospace and space. We have marine and we have rail, all of which will require batteries within the UK themselves. So as you can see, we've got a good start, but we're not quite there in terms of our coverage, and we won't be for a while. We need a few more gigafactories, probably 2 or 3, the size of AESC or Agratas, to open up within the UK to ensure our battery manufacturing needs are met within ourselves, rather than relying on imports from other countries. As you said, the UK is very strong in vehicle and niche vehicle manufacturing. About almost 500,000, so 500,000 estimated cars have been built in the UK year to date. And this was the industry facts from about 2 or 3 months ago. 1.5 million EVs, including plug-in hybrid and hybrid EVs, registered in the UK to 2025. Up to when this was done, that's probably reachable by probably about 1.7 million now. About 80% of the cars we make in the UK are exported. There's a couple of sites that I visited where they make cars in the UK, all as left-hand drive, so directly for export to the continent. We employ about 800,000 people, and about 190 of those are employed directly in our manufacturing. And the SMMT and Faraday Battery Challenge, now BIP, have forecasted that we're going to create 40,000 new jobs. I'm really going to highlight that new word, because we export a lot of our vehicles, and really the push on the ban of internal combustion engines is only localized to the UK and to Europe. We will still be producing those internal combustion engines. So it's not a case of taking the current workforce that work internal combustion engines and reskilling them, moving them over to EVs. We will have to have both industries running parallel. So they will be basically 40,000 brand new jobs in EV manufacturing to hit our internal targets and to deliver what we need to deliver. I said all of those are from the SMMT Motor Industry Facts 2025, which was released, I think, about 2 or 3 months ago. Workforce breakdown. This one I always quite like because people see battery manufacturing as really, really high level and you need PhDs and masters to work in it. About 80 to 90% of the workforce is level 2 or level 3 qualified for production staff and logistics. We're not looking here at super highly qualified people in terms of education. What we are looking for is really skilled workforce that can understand how to make batteries, and that tacit knowledge is really strong. About 180 battery manufacturing jobs per gigawatt hour per year. So obviously that goes up. It's a nice linear equation that's quite easy to do. 35,000 new jobs just in battery manufacturing plants by 2040, and more than 65,000 in the supply chain supporting battery manufacturing. But as I said there, until you get sort of your management area and a few looking at IT data and the quality and maintenance engineering, most of that workforce will be level 2 or level 3 qualified. So the haunt of our further education and our colleges, which are really important to bring on board and ensure that they are brought into the fold when we talk about these skills. What's quite nice is we talk a lot about where we're going to find this workforce. I've got some good news. Most of these skills that we're having in battery manufacturing are not brand new skills. They are skills that we can borrow from other industries, especially when we talk about the knowledge. So I'm going to sort of split this up into our first bit, electrode, which is that top left one. That shares a lot of skills and allied industries with food manufacturing and pharmaceuticals. My previous background was food manufacturing, and a lot of things you do here at UKBIC are no different really at a high level compared to when I used to make Vanuatu pastry and croissants. Pardon me. When we talk about cell assembly, that's looking more electronics, high-level manufacturing and automotive. It's very robot-driven with a lot of machine minders, but it's run by itself, and the machine minders just need to make sure that all of the work is being done correctly and within the correct tolerances. We talk about FA&T and data analysis. That's looking at manufacturing, data manipulation, anything that can gather data, look at it, manipulate it as required, and then deliver it back in some sort of report format. And module and pack are around the assembly line, and that is very much around the on-hand skills. No battery manufacturing facility that I know of in the UK is planning to automate module and pack. So that assembly line, factory work, manufacturing workforce will be very important to ensuring that these modules and packs are put together and installed into vehicles correctly and safely. Now, Europe as a whole, of which we are technically still part of, is looking to project to generate about 140 to 250,000 jobs over the next 5 years, according to a research tracker released by New Automotive in June 2025. Now, that is really talking about the automotive supply chain. Obviously, ourselves, France, Germany, Italy have got a big impact into other areas, especially when we talk about rail, marine, and aerospace. So these numbers really are only looking at automotive. And the reason for that is the automotive life cycle is a lot shorter than it is for some of the larger pieces of equipment. A car's life cycle is somewhere between 10 and 15 years, depending if it's a normal car or a luxury car. If we're looking at rail, that could be 30 to 40. A ship, that could be even longer. Planes could be potentially even longer than that. So again, we're working with an industry that's fast moving, that allow us to learn the lessons quickly, fail hard, fail fast, but then install those lessons into our learning as we move forward. So we've spoken about potential challenges. Now I'm going to talk about the delivery ones. So this infographic shows what's available at the moment within the UK. So all of these projects are funded by the Battery Innovation Programme, BIP. We've got ourselves delivering level 2 to level 5 qualifications, ensuring that you understand the hands-on battery manufacturing mentality and the processes required to put together a battery. The Farron Institution looks at high-level PhD research, looking at what's coming next, the next technologies, the next cell chemistries, etc., etc. You've got the Birmingham BMSP that's looking at the module and pack sort of area, and you've got the National Training Battery Academy up in the northeast supporting our high-level AESC colleagues up in the northeast. We're also looking at the future. There's a lot of work foresighting with some high-level academics. We've got the Bridgeton Taunton College with the Southwest Battery Skills Response, and we're looking at certain areas with them about how we can support Agritas down in the southeast. Ourselves saying we are the hub for most of the knowledge of battery manufacturing as it happens within the UK moving forward. and we have got the ESN, which is looking at skills across electrification. So not just battery manufacturing, all of that, of which UKBIC is a founding member of that and continues to drive and deliver that method and ideas. So real big takeaways is we've only really just started the journey. This is an industry that is having to change quite rapidly from automotive to newer technologies that are coming out the woodwork fast and furiously from especially the US and from China. UKBIC has already delivered training for the industry, very niche training in small numbers, but also we've been training some large players around the world, OEMs, manufacturers in processes around battery manufacturing. But the real challenge is doing that at scale. As much as I love my team and think UKBIC are amazing and that my team can deliver as much as possible, there's no way we could deliver 40,000 trainees. We need the support of further education, higher education. We need the support of schools. Most of the workforce of 2035, about 80%, is already in the workforce today. When we look at 2040 and 2045, that drops to about 30-40%. So we need to make sure that we are instilling the idea that battery manufacturing is a good career, it's a good skills network, and it's got a career that's got longevity towards the future into schools. We lose women at the age of 8 years old and girls from engineering and STEM activities. So we really have to make sure that we start fast and hard now so we have the workforce of the future secured. And again, it's taking that people along for the electrification journey. We hear a lot from the media, some misinformation about EVs that we really need to combat, and we need people to understand why we're doing electrification and what this journey is all about. So as you said, we've done lots of training here at UKBIC. We've done hands-on training in the rooms, which is that top left photo. We've got some lab training, which is the next photo. A lot of classroom training to deliver the baseline theory to ensure that everyone that attends our courses can really fully understand the baseline requirements of making a battery. We deliver public courses, we deliver niche courses, we deliver bespoke courses for the public, and we always ensure that all the lesson objectives and learning objectives are hit as required. As I said, we've also delivered to companies across the globe, from the US down to Africa and Ghana, and across Europe, and even into looking towards China and Japan. So we've delivered a lot of courses to a lot of people. We really do know what we're doing here at UKBIC. So what can we offer in terms of UKBIC? We run an Introduction to Battery Manufacturing course, which is a 2-day course which outlines and lays out all of the processes required to manufacture a battery and the different requirements and skills for that. So as we're looking at what we do here at UKBIC, we look at other technologies, competing technologies, and other technologies that are coming in the forefront and through research moving forward. Once you've done that, we run a deeper understanding course, so some deep dives where we start looking at, instead of the entire process of electrode, cell assembly, FAT, and module and pack, we dive into each of those. So we'll go and do one in electrode, where rather than explaining just how we mix and why we mix, we really go in depth into why we do certain parts of the mixing process, why we undertake different mixes, why we do different processes for different cell chemistries. And on top of that, we also offer practical experience. So we allow access to our line. We're the only provider in the world that allows open access for paying customers to a battery manufacturing line as an entirety. No one else in the world currently offers that. So it's definitely a unique selling point for us. But for us, it's very much about developing and designing and delivering training solutions that build knowledge to confident application. So we're looking there at really getting people hitting the ground running, so you don't have to spend 2 or 3 months training them how to make a battery. We can do that in our intensive course to allow workers to hit the ground running and really prop up our battery manufacturing industry. On top of that, we also train the world. We've written a battery manufacturing apprenticeship standard, the first one of its kind in the world that's already been exported to at least 13 different countries for delivery. We're also working with awarding organisations such as EAL and SIAS to put together battery manufacturing qualifications, looking at reskilling and upskilling of the current workforce or workforces that we could see moving transiently, like armed forces. And we also do some STEM outreach. I know Dom's in the call and he does some fantastic work with the Fire Institution STEM outreach. We will support that, and we will continue to STEM outreach as UKBIC to really get people to understand what is being delivered and what engineering is. I've got a quick video here that I hope everyone doesn't get deafened by, so I'll press play. So, oh, can we not hear anything? I will turn to Richard and our IT team there because we tested this morning and it did work. Could we have a few more? Did anyone else not hear anything? Okay, so we've got people saying it did work for them. I'm guessing, Roy, then potentially you may have had your speakers muted. What we've got, as Richard has reiterated, is this can be downloaded and you'll be able to look through and hear this with Roger's fine voice. Any of you that know Roger, worked in the experience, he's always the man with the cowboy hat. And I'm very sad that he took his cowboy hat off for that because he's very recognizable with that on. So yes, this will be available for anyone that wants to grab it afterwards. So that'll be a lovely thing to watch again. As we said, we have got Introduction to Battery Manufacturing, our course. It runs about monthly and it's designed for all levels, from whether you're looking at brand new for the industry or whether you're an investor or whether you're a seasoned CEO or HR director or whatever it may be. We deliver this at all levels, bringing in prior learning, looking at setting a really good baseline for anyone working in the industry or allied industries. The next webinar will be in January, and that will be around our battery development laboratory, and that will be date to be confirmed. Rich will be saying that out, and please follow all our social medias to ensure you keep up to date on that. Right, that's sort of me done in terms of talking, which some of you probably are quite relieved about. I haven't got any questions currently in the Q&A, but we did receive some pre-asked questions. So I'm going to run through these. If you've got any questions, please do pop them into the Q&A and I will do my best to answer them. So, can your training sessions be delivered in person at UKBIC, also be delivered online, or can they also be delivered through a blended approach? Yes, of course they can be. We recommend that you come on site for our factory tour and to really see the equipment and the scale of it, but we can deliver a large portion of our classroom sessions online and through a blended approach. So it's not limited to being in the classroom. We can, and we have delivered across time zones and across the world to different countries at different delivery times. So yep, if you have an email to sales or through to myself, then we can talk about how we can deliver that. What qualifications or certifications can participants earn through UKBIC training programs? So I said beforehand, there's no real awarding organisation that currently, as of yet, have signed off things. We're working closely with EAL to come up with a qualification, but unfortunately, many of us that work in the industry and have worked in schools and education know that the system is not exactly the focus of some of those. I'm just going to get Roy's one. We do keep saying batteries, Roy. The cells. The issue is that the word batteries and cells are technically interchangeable. A cell is one unique one, but a battery is one or more. So with a UK Battery Industrialization Centre, because of cells and batteries can mean the same thing. Cell is one, batteries is one or more ourselves. So yep, back to the qualification one. Apologies for that one. We are working with EAL. We will have a qualification coming out. We've already launched a level 2. That's aligned to the apprenticeship framework, and we're working through a level 3 and a level 4 as well with the EAL to make sure that we can have delivery at all levels at UKBIC, but also it will be an accredited course by EAL, so other centres will be able to deliver if they have the knowledge. So are there apprenticeship standards or pathways for those looking to enter battery manufacturing industry? There is. The apprenticeship standard is live. I can think of at least 2 colleges that are offering it, but obviously apprenticeship standards really require a end user, so a company, to really invest in those. Now, obviously, AESC up in the northeast, they're doing some of this and using the apprenticeship standard. Agratas at the moment isn't ready to start undertaking the apprenticeship because it needs a physical site to deliver upon. But as they move forward, as we get other players into the industry, yes, there is. If you're looking for pathways, the ESN website is a fantastic place to go. There's lots of pathways and career guidelines of what you can do in battery manufacturing and also where those could go. Have you got any plans to be a certified training centre? Yep, this morning I had a conversation with EAL. We are moving forward with our EAL centre accreditation, which means that every qualification we will be able to deliver will be EAL certified and accredited. And how is UKBIC planning to evolve its training offerings to meet the growing demand for skills in the UK battery ecosystem next 5 years? So we're very close to the coalface The first time something happens in the UK, it probably happens here at UKBIC or with one of our partners we're working closely with. So I've got my ear to the ground, attend a lot of meetings, discuss with a lot of people, look at a lot of scientific papers, discuss with academics what's coming next to ensure that our delivery is kept up to date. So we're evolving our delivery to look more now at how can we get larger numbers through, how can UKBIC support the education industry to ensure they can deliver. So looking at secondments of our staff towards colleges, training up colleges, looking at some of those teacher education days to make sure that teachers and educators and lecturers have the required knowledge. And that'll be the next 5 years and also through to the future. Jumping into the Q&As. Yomi, yes, we can do professional training for scientists. It depends sort of what level you're looking at. We have a large concentration of high-level scientists, whether that be sort of our technical scientists or looking at our PhD theoretical scientists. We've just delivered some really high-end scientific training in the lab for high-level quality testing and high-level manufacturing quality assurance. So absolutely, if you drop an email over to sales@ukbic.co.uk, we can start discussing any potential requirements that you have and build a bespoke course for yourselves. So I saw a comment in the chat as well about salespeople. Yep, absolutely. We've had a lot of salespeople from companies. Thank you, Cheryl, for that. Come along to the battery manufacturing course. We have a lot of them come to it and say they had no idea how complex it was, but they walk away, especially from our sort of providers, people like PyChem, who provide a lot of equipment to the industry, Beulah, etc., have sent their salespeople on our training courses and have found it very, very beneficial. And if there's no more than that, I will. Oh, Dom's there. How accurate do you think the workforce numbers will be in light of AI robotics advancing? Do we think that we all agree on workforce numbers and go out to the future? If I'm honest, Dom, I think probably they're undersold. AI is a useful tool, but it is a tool to be added to our arsenal of already existing tools. As proven recently, AI will definitely not replace people in a large portion of jobs. I think those numbers are, if anything, understating, because there's lots of things we probably haven't thought about in terms of manufacturing, in terms of the coverage for 24 hours, looking at some of that breakdown. Downtime costs the business money, and obviously having downtime on battery manufacturing with some of the limits we have in terms of our raw supplies and mixed materials probably mean that actually we've got a larger number than we think we do. AI robotics definitely will play a part. But as I will always pull back to the Child in the Chocolate Factory, although it stole, a robot stole Charlie Bucket's dad's jobs of doing the toothpaste caps on, there was still needed someone to look after that. So I think actually by putting robotics in, we're actually looking at changing the workforce rather than reducing it. And one from Vit. Do you plan to look into battery recycling and reuse? I'm personally very interested in training battery designers for design for recycling and reuse. Yeah, we actually have a course on design for recycling and design for sustainability. It's not been made a public course because the interest, if I'm completely honest, hasn't been there, but we have delivered it as a bespoke course to quite a few people, working with a company over in Wolverhampton and a few others around the world that look into battery recycling and reuse. We like to look more at the reuse side, because people talk about you use a battery in a car and then it's useless. Actually, we talk a lot more about the second life. So moving it from EVs into static storage. And then once it's lived a useful life in static storage, moving it over to our consumer goods. That really extends the battery life from somewhere where people think it's about 5 to 10 years, where in reality in EV, it's probably close to 20, 25 years towards the 50-year mark at that point. But yes, we're working a lot with sending some of our suppliers and partners about looking at that recycling, especially around the black mass, and how we can break it down to constituent parts to give ourselves quite pure raw materials to reuse in the process. One from Kevin. Are we focused on battery cell manufacturing training for support for the likes of Agros and ASC in the lab to scale cell manufacturing? Yes, Kevin, we are. We're focused on everything really. We're supporting that move from lab scale to scale cell manufacturing, but actually we'll deliver training across the broad spectrum. One of the benefits of where we are at UKBIC and having the L&D team is we've got a large portion of training and delivery around every single area. So looking at the research, looking at the history, looking at what we're doing now in the lab, looking at that scale manufacturing, looking at that valley of death, for want of a better word, about how we can move towards it, but then looking at the newer tech and how newer equipment, newer processes, newer cell chemistries, newer materials will change the way that we approach our moving forward. Cheryl, how we said the STEM Ambassador program. We have, Cheryl, yes. One of our issues at the moment is we have a lot of work, and the team at UKBIC is a relative size, but it's keeping us busy with the high speed that things are turning over in the battery manufacturing world and the newer technologies that are coming out of the woodwork. We want to make sure that our training is up to date, and I've yet to deliver a training session where we haven't had to update the materials month on month because of the changes in the battery manufacturing space. One from Mosiah Asif. Currently, our courses are not CPD accredited, but we are working with the CPD service and with EAL to make those. One of the things that the CPD asks for is a track record of the courses and then a sort of future roadmap. And we've been working with them to discuss future roadmap, because in battery manufacturing, it's not quite as simple and laid out as some people like to think. We've got a lot of competing technologies, sodium ion, solid state batteries, looking at prismatic cells, that mean that some of the tick off boxes, for want of a better word with the CPD, are a bit more entertaining to navigate, but we're working closely with them to make sure that we are pushing forward. There was a question about the BMSP, and I was in level 2 to 5. Yep, I'm on the advisory committee for the BMSP. Their main focus is around that module and pack area. They've got some great resources and some work around module and pack, looking for their clients in the areas, but there is no substitute for having a real life line with real life expertise, creating batteries on a daily basis for customers. So unless there are any more questions, I'll pop back. I don't believe there are. You still have another 2 or 3 minutes if you want to answer them. But if not, then thank you very much for listening. If you want to email myself at any training requirements, then training@ukbic.co.uk is the place to go. If you're looking at working with us and our BD team and looking at sales, how you can produce materials or work with us closely, it's sales@ukbic.co.uk. Looking to become a supplier, it's suppliers@ukbic.co.uk. And if you're looking for any information, then you can email info@ukbic.co.uk, and then our lovely Faye will either answer you back as quickly as possible or pass you on to the relevant department. Other than that, I think we are pretty much on time. I think Richard will be happy that I kept to my time limit, or even undercut it even potentially, because I do like to talk about batteries. I'm quite passionate, as you could probably guess. But thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. And as mentioned beforehand, all of the materials, including this recording and this slide deck, will be available for download from the 11th of December. And again, if you've got any questions or want to do anything, please follow our social media on LinkedIn, or do visit our website at www.ukbic.co.uk. Thank you very much.